All right, Matthew Fiorenza, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
No problem. So, the random fact that I got today is that goosebumps evolved to make our ancestors' hair stand up, making them appear more threatening to predators. Weird, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Now, when we get goosebumps now, we just think we're cold. Or, like, we get, like, the chills,
You get
like,
the chills,
like
yeah.
Emotionally.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get to the journal prompt today. So the journal prompt today is, what would you do with your time if money was not an object? Once again, what would you do with your time if money was not an object? I'll give you guys a minute. If you want to skip ahead, go ahead. But if not, think for a minute and then hear our opinions. What would you do with your time if money was not an object? And honestly, I think I would be just doing every physical activity possible. Like, I would all day just be doing whatever. And obviously, you get tired, you take a rest and stuff like that. But when you have the freedom to, let's go play this, let's go play that.
Yes, play is a good word.
Yeah, play is awesome. Yeah, because you don't want to be like, let's go do this and make it like a chore.
Yeah, not at all.
Like, you always gotta play. Like, that's why I hated like when it got too competitive after a while with sports and stuff when we got older.
Yeah, when we had those coaches that were just miserable and yelling at us and
Yeah.
taking out their anger on us.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a play.
Fun.
It didn't feel like play.
Yeah.
It felt like work.
Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. Like, and did we really ever get to work? No. All we would do is show up, scrimmage, and then leave. And
yeah, but now, like the running sprints, like.
Yeah, for the tryouts. Yeah, we were getting in great shape right before the season. And then after our first game, we'd be like, all right, now we got a bunch of games. We can't work hard anymore. We got to rest up.
Yeah, it's the
Really?
difference. You need good role models. Like,
Yeah.
that coach wasn't a good role model. Kevin, on the other hand,
Kevin
if
was
we had
great.
him as a coach, he would have been amazing, would have drove us
Yeah.
to play. Like,
Yeah, and that would have been great. But sadly, we didn't get that opportunity. But back to, we keep getting off
Yeah,
track.
it's
This
okay.
is horrible. It's not bad. It's just, I know. Like, when I listen to podcasts, I've said this before on this podcast, like, when they get to a certain point and they keep talking about something, like, we just mentioned, what would you do if money was not an object with your time? And, like, once you start going off
You
the rails,
always
you're
go
like,
off
oh
track,
my
yeah.
God, just fucking talk about the damn question already.
yes, I understand. Yeah,
But anyway, you gonna go?
yeah.
Go
Like,
ahead.
what I would do, I know, like, you have to search within yourself, like, find what you actually are passionate about, what you like, and what I really like is to be in nature, like to be out. Like, climbing mountains, like, why not? Running up the mountains and getting the best view. And then not only that, I want to be there with my friends, my fucking boys, my fucking family, whoever.
Yes.
Take them up there on the mountains, show people, like, this experience that I have and the love that I have when I go out there to just, putting the phone in the bag and not even using the phone. Just having conversations with your friends and, running through the woods.
I was thinking about that the other day, with just having a group of friends in a place with just mountains and stuff like that, being outdoors and just going all the time. Like, that would be such an amazing life to live, just because you're always getting physical activity, you're getting outside, which is awesome. Like we don't get outside that much, also because it's cold, but also because it's easy and nice in a house. Like when you're outside, it's a little bit more difficult living and stuff like that, unless it's super nice out, unless it's like 70 and sunny. So being around the outdoors, going outside, going up mountains, watching views and looking at nature, looking at animals, like it's such a beautiful thing that we don't get to do that much. And it sucks because imagine we got to have a class in elementary school or middle school and high school to go outside and be forced to go into nature.
Boy Scouts. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah,
right?
but the crazy thing, Boy Scouts, you have to meet inside. You don't meet outside.
They do camping.
Yeah, they do camping. What? Once every 2 months? That's not a lot. If you're a Boy Scout, you should be camping.
We're kind of taught to be afraid of nature.
Yeah, honestly.
To treat it as, like we were saying earlier in the podcast, as outside of ourselves. Meanwhile, we're as connected as our heart is to our body. Like we're very connected to that.
That's actually a great point.
Yeah, like, just as much as we need our lungs, we need the trees and the ocean and the all these different things. And the sun is just as much of a vital organ as our eyes.
Yeah, the sun, I'm pretty sure it turns on like
without
hundreds.
our eyes, the sun wouldn't be light.
Yeah.
It would just be.
That's true.
It would just be warmth, I guess.
Yeah.
If we had no eyes.
Yeah, the sun turns on like a crazy amount of cells in your body just from being outside for like 10 to 15 minutes. It turns on so many receptors in your body, and it just makes you feel so much better. And yeah, I mean, I wish we lived in a sunnier place.
Yeah, but no, I like it here in New York. Like,
I actually like the idea of Staten Island, where everything is super close. You don't have to go that far. There's public transportation if you don't have a car. The only thing that sucks is that like the people here are very stereotypical. You have the whole South Shore is basically like the same person, everyone you meet. And obviously, like it's not the best thing for me to say that everyone's kind of like the same person, but in reality, everyone has the same accent, the same look, the same type of thinking and stuff like that. And it's
that's
refreshing.
In like every group where you get a lot of people together, they're all gonna act the same.
Yeah, and but that's the thing. Like when you go to Manhattan, it's so different. Everyone is different. There's so many different people. There's so many different ways of thinking. All these accents, where they came from, their stories, their background. It's so much more interesting, and that's literally like what I think Manhattan's like 15 miles away from us.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes us like 45 minutes to an hour to get there, which sucks because I would be there a lot more if it was closer. But just to see all those different
I'm glad
types of
I'm not over there. It's a little like, I don't know.
What, in Manhattan?
Too much.
Yeah,
no.
I'm people. Saying like I would want to go there just to experience people and others.
For sure, yeah.
But other than that, like, yeah, I would not really want to live. I might live in Manhattan for like a few years during my 20s, but other than that, never. Like, it's just so much, just too hectic.
Yeah, once in a while, it's definitely fun, like a night out.
Yeah, a night out in the city, you have so many people
or
there.
Or the day there. Like,
yeah, a nice day.
I just like to come back home and at least have a backyard, a driveway.
Yeah, that's like true. That. Yeah, it's so weird. I would love to talk to a kid who grew up like our age, who lives in the city right now, like how different their life is to us. Because obviously we have cars, they have buses, they have the subway and stuff like that. They have to probably, like, if they're fending for themselves at a younger age, like they have to figure out how to make enough money to cover whatever bills they have, rent, and food is more expensive out there. There's a lot more to do, but you don't really have that much money to do that much stuff in the city. So it's very interesting to see what they would do.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. All right, this question, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just think you have to define what what you really enjoy doing. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important thing. Turning work into play.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something out there for everybody. Like that someone would enjoy doing that you can actually make money at.
Yeah. What would, like?
Like
What's your thing? What would be
honestly,
your specific part of life that you would want to make into, like, from your play into a play with the work?
right now I think I'm figuring it out.
Okay.
And
What direction are you in?
well, here's my direction. Like right now, I have a lot of exciting things going on because I'm going to school.
Yeah.
Like as a freshman
Mm-hmm.
at 20 years old, and I'm going in undecided, taking 4 courses, and I don't know if I told you I had to write an appeal for the financial aid form, and to get financial aid because of past academic stuff,
Yeah.
and I told them my whole story, and I was telling them how like I found a love for reading, and like all telling them about how I'm building a library of my own and all these different things, trying to like make it look good.
Yeah.
And like I think like maybe being a teacher, but I'm not sure really what I want to do.
It's hard to
To
commit.
make money at. It's a hard to commit, but I do know right now. This is the thing I want to focus on is the present moment. Because like I want to be happy now. If you can't be happy now, then how are you going to be happy in the future when the future comes? It's going to be now. So you have to focus on now. Right now, I think I'm making all the right moves. Like I'm going to the Muay Thai classes, following my passion of fighting and wanting to fight. Like, you know, I wanted to learn how to fight, and it's amazing. I'm doing it with 2 of my best friends. It's so fun. And like it's a great spot. We got 2 great coaches.
Yeah.
And we're gonna learn a lot quickly.
So
quickly.
much.
Yo, you know what I like about the Muay Thai classes? They throw you right into it. Like there's no like, oh here, this is just like throw the kick. You know how to kick. Like we all know how to kick. Just kick the fucking pad. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, right? There's no like, here's how you do this and that. They're just like fucking do it. And I like that. Like you know, we went hard as hell for like an hour
they
and a
tell
half.
you, hey, kick, and then like obviously if your form's
Yeah,
a little
they tell
off,
you about the form. Yeah,
but
of
they're
course.
like, yo, like everyone could do this.
They tell you how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I was actually the last podcast I did with June, and it was how to live in the present more, like how to accept everything in life in the present and move on from your past,
It's
which
the most
is
important thing.
super hard thing to do, but it's great that you're living in the present. And living in the present, you're gonna find what you want to do a lot easier than if you were searching for
And you
it.
have to be out there doing it, doing what you want to do. That's what I'm saying. Like instead of sitting at home thinking about what you have to get out there and do what you want to do.
Yeah, you definitely
And what I
have
want to
to.
do, I want to learn. Like what I wrote at the what I was getting to before with the financial aid thing, I wrote at the end of it is like I want to be a lifelong perpetual student. I want to be a learner, like you know, for the rest of my life, a reader, a writer, a thinker, an observer, and wonder and amazement. Like
Yes.
something like something where like I'm always learning. There's no end to this. There's no end to learning.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing. So the way they do it with school is that when you're coming up in school, you know, you're learning. But once you like you as a person, when you think school ends, you think learning ends. And that's when school ends, that's when learning really starts, honestly. Because
sure, yeah.
when you get out of school,
I agree.
you have to keep learning or else you become a stagnant person. And unless you realize that, then you're basically just being a stagnant person the rest of your life.
Following the conditioned reflexes, like doing the same things, like following your habits, like,
Following the bad habits that you can't get out of. And if you're not learning how to get out of them or just learning new things, then you're just wasting your life at that point. And people, whenever they hear something like that, they think it's too late. You're like, I don't care how old you are. If you're 75 and you just are realizing this, that you got to keep learning, then you're going to probably add a few more years to your life. And who cares if you messed up the first 75 years of your life? Fucking fix it now. Stop crying about it.
You're right.
And just get into it. Like, hey, live in the present moment. Don't worry about the past. You can't fix the past. You have to just be like, all right, that's what happened in the past. But now you say, okay, I can still fix it. Even if I live for one more year, I'd rather enjoy the fuck out of the one more year I have in my life than be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to die anyway, so fuck it.
Yeah. And what we were talking about earlier with death, like, who knows what happens afterwards? Maybe this is a test.
Yeah.
This might be just a test. This is
It could be anything.
Every day is a test and a challenge in itself. Because you know these different things, you might fall into something
Just
that you don't like.
closer. Yeah.
You might fall into something that you don't like fall into doing something that
Isn't
you'll
that
look
the
at yourself
scariest
badly
thing?
for. So you want to make sure you're doing stuff and doing it right, like doing things for the right reasons, and you know, because when the time comes, when death does come, because it's coming, you know, you're able to go gracefully.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens. I don't know. Have I told you?
Watch the hand.
Have I told you about the picture in my basement? My brother had 2 friends sleep over in the basement, and it was on my brother's phone. There was a
David
picture.
told me.
Yeah, I think I have it on my phone. It would take a while to find it, but it was literally a picture that my brother didn't take. His phone was upstairs and they were downstairs, and it was a picture of a shape like my grandma who passed away like 5 months earlier or however long, a few months. And she had like this blue blanket over her, and she was floating in between my friend Andrew and Alonzo. And it was crazy. Like the picture, we have the evidence. Like we zoom in and you see just the blue cloak and it's shaped like my grandma. Like, what in the fuck is that? We don't have that blanket anywhere. So that like, a lot of people don't get that type of evidence about the afterlife. Like, I'm like, what? That's some real evidence I could carry with me on my phone everywhere and show people. Like, look, I didn't take that picture. I have no clue how this happened, but it fucking happened. And maybe she was trying to say something. I don't know. But, like, when you see that picture, that's what I'm saying. It's just, like, proof right there. Like, that's why I'm saying. It's like, it's not like, oh, this person's crazy. Like, no, here's a picture. I'll fucking show you.
Here's a fucking picture. We know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
You could believe me if you want. You don't have to, but this is what we know. We know that his phone was upstairs, so there's no way we could have taken it. And to get a blanket like that in between 2 kids when there's only 3 kids, who would take the picture? Obviously.
Yeah, it's like we don't even have that blanket. It was a mind fuck.
That's such a strange thing, and it's crazy to think about that with the afterlife. And when I listened to that guy, I gotta send you that, and it's really interesting. I listened to, I think it was an hour and a half. I listened to like an hour and 15, and the guy was saying how you go back, like when he was living in China, he did a bunch of outer body experiences, and they're on high rises. So I think below them, they were living there. And they were doing the same exact thing as they were doing with their whole entire life. So they would be going to work. They would be living in their house, preparing whatever, like literally what human beings are doing, instead of realizing like, hey, we're out of this. So maybe your grandma was in this situation of like, hey, I'm dead, but I'm still here, but I don't know how to do this yet.
Yeah, maybe she wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Like, you still have things to do before you pass the test or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's weird. Like, we don't prepare for, what do you call it? We don't prepare for death.
Definitely not. Yeah, we put it off.
Yeah, we put it off.
I think we should definitely consider it, because then you'll be like, wow, what's really important? What's really important here?
It humbles you.
Yeah.
Humbles you a lot, because when you're in that situation of being like, oh shit, I'm gonna die one day, and then it really hits you like, what am I doing with my life right now? Am I enjoying it? Am I living how I would live without money? Is this what I would be doing without money right now? Would I be doing this podcast? Yes, I would be doing this podcast if I didn't make money, because I actually have to pay to fucking do this podcast.
Same.
And this is something that I love to do. Like,
Following your passion.
I would definitely do this for the rest of my life. Yeah, I don't care how many people listen. Like, I just enjoy talking to a friend.
And I would come participate. I don't care if 0 people listen. This is fun as hell. I like it.
Yeah, it's fun, because there's structure to it, but there's also not structure.
Yeah,
you know, when you're
loose.
just like, if we're just hanging out and we're just chilling on the couch watching basketball or something, you're not gonna have this question happen and make you like a thought-provoking question that'll come up. Maybe it'll come up for like 5 to 10 minutes, but it's weird like a half an hour later just be like, oh yeah, on that thought before when you were talking about how life after death and shit like that. It's
Yeah.
strange to bring it up, especially in
An hour before, like,
in a situation where we're all just hanging out and having fun. You want to have these, and I would love to have people. I'm sure there are a bunch of people that would love to listen to this stuff and love to listen to questions and think about it and have like an area where we can all talk and stuff like that. And I want to figure that out because I think it'll be great for people. Thought-provoking questions,
and conversations like
yeah.
that I had.
Yeah, because I would listen to Joe Rogan all the time, and I still do.
I do too, yeah.
But like, there's times where like he goes off and he just goes in on it, like whatever question, whatever he's talking about with life and stuff, he'll go on for like 5 to 10 minutes, and every word that comes out of his mouth is just said so beautifully and so articulately that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But then after that 10 minutes, I have to wait like another 50 minutes to hear something along those lines, because his podcast is just like, I'm just having a conversation, like this is what interests me at this moment, this present moment right here.
You kind of have to be like Joe Rogan, like you have to have similar interests to
you just have to think things like whatever is interesting to you, that's what you got to talk about, and you got to just keep going down that path. And back to the question, like whatever your interest is, like that's what you got to do with your time.
What I'm interested in? I'm excited, like, to have these conversations because it's fun. It's fun. It's fun for me. I like to have these conversations and talk about ideas. Like, see how everyone else is thinking in comparison to what you're thinking, and then you can match it and then add what they're thinking, or be like, oh, I definitely don't agree with that. Like, this guy might be a little.
Well, do you remember when me and Joe Box did it? Our podcast, I forgot what the question was, but we asked you, and you said something totally different.
Yeah,
and
we were like perspectives.
We were like, we didn't even think about that. In 45 minutes of talking, we didn't think of whatever you said for 1 second, because we were bouncing ideas off of each other. But when you start bouncing ideas off of each other, you kind of come to the same conclusion sometimes as the podcast goes along, because like outer thoughts don't come up as much as the beginning. But when you have other people, like I would love to have some type of like, I would love if people reached out to me on Instagram and be like, hey, like this is exactly what I thought when you guys were saying that. Or like, I would love to interact with people, have people whoever listen to this podcast come on. Like if you're listening right now, you want to fucking come on, like let me know. I'm down for anybody to come on because I love other people's opinions. And obviously like these questions kind of all tie into each other, but also don't. They're very loose, but they're very specific at the same time. So to have somebody come on, like we were talking about the present moment, that wasn't even the question, but that was literally the last podcast. So
for me, it's part of the question, like, because what would you do if money was no object? If you're gonna avoid the present moment, then you're avoiding life. That's all we possess is the present moment. Like we could think about the future, but guess what? It's not going to come, like, you could think about it all day long. It's definitely not going to come out the way you think it's going to come out. Like, it's always different than what you expect. There's always surprises. Like, no one wants to know the future either. No one wants to know about, you just want to, it just happens, like, of itself, like,
Yeah. You want to make sure that you're not focused. That was my problem. I focused way too much on the future. And all I would do is, like, all right, make sure you save up enough money, keep saving the money, and focus on, like, you'll be doing a lot of fun stuff in the future. Don't worry. Like, you're going to be doing a lot more fun stuff. And then one day I thought, like, when is that day going to come? When am I going to stop and be like, you know what? This is the time when I can start doing fun and interesting stuff. Because I don't want to be, like, 35 and be like, wow, the last 15 years of my life, I could have done something like this podcast. Like,
you could have done something like Muay Thai.
Muay Thai. Like I could have been doing like even the rock climbing. Like the rock climbing is a great hobby that we have now. And it's cool too because, when we have all this free time, we're working out, but we're also hanging out too.
Yeah.
So it's
Fun, constructive, just like this conversation.
Yeah, just like this podcast, like everything it's got to be fun, but there's got to be some type of construction
growth,
to it.
like
Some type of growth too.
Because that's what's fun. It's about getting better at something. Like I just actually yesterday I got it in the mail. I ordered a little piano for myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I got a little keyboard, and so I got the app. It's called Simply Piano, and I've been practicing yesterday. I practiced for like literally 2 hours straight, and within 40 minutes, I was reading the notes. Like I know what, if I see a note on the page, I know what button to press, and I know where to keep my fingers.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fucking pianist or whatever you want to call him. I'm not
a pianist, I think.
Pianist, whatever.
I don't know.
But if I do it for a half hour every day, I'm just gonna keep getting better and seeing progression, and that's what's fun. Like it's fun to get better at things, and it's fun to watch your friends get better at things.
Oh my God,
that's what it's about. It's lifting each other up, and just So
that's the whole thing about competition, where I don't like.
Yeah.
When you have competition, there's healthy competition, there's unhealthy competition. When you have that healthy competition, like when we were climbing up the wall, timing each other, that's a healthy competition. Like we're like, okay, you got 15 seconds, I'm going to try to get 14 right now. Oh, I didn't get that 14 seconds. Oh, well, what am I going to do?
I'll get you next time.
Yeah, I'll get you next time. Like there's
just like with the sparring.
Yeah, like you want to have that friendly and competitive spirit, but you also want to have that support. And a lot of times with the competitiveness, there's no support in it. It's like, oh shit, he did a lot better than me. Well, have to do.
And that's the ego.
That's the ego.
Yeah.
It is all the ego, and that ego strikes up. It doesn't matter how good you are at noticing the ego, it's gonna happen. Like when I was watching you guys spar, my ego was like, oh man, they're gonna be so much better than me. But I'm like, yo, like they're looking good right now. They are looking really good, and I really hope, like, I want all three of us, honestly, at some point to like possibly go into competitions and like maybe even like actually fight a few times. I don't care how many times I do it. I would love to, because it's just something that I never thought I would do. And doing things that you never thought.
We're throwing ourselves into it.
Just throw yourself into it. Whatever happens, happens. If it's not for you, you'll know. After a few times, definitely with fighting, you'll know if it's not for you.
Yeah.
But if you do know if it's for you, you're going to be like, oh shit, this is something that I never thought I would actually do. Like, this is cool. Like, I definitely want to pursue this. And the play turns into more play, but then could also turn into work play, which is the best type of play.
Like with school, like we're moving on to the next thing. We're preparing. We're continually preparing for the next stage of life, for the next grade, for the next school, high school to college. And even when we're in college, we're always searching for that grade. We're always preparing for that test. And then, you graduate from college, then you go apply for a job, and you're always working working towards this. Basically, you're working for the machine, like trying to make money, so you could have a life and support your kids and do these things that you want to do. But I think before you have kids and settle down and all these things, you have to fucking figure out what you love to do. You gotta focus on yourself, and then stuff will start to fall into place. When you start doing and following your passions, like doing what you love, like that's when things
100%. I can't agree with you anymore. It's when you're finding your passions, when you're growing up, it definitely leads into the people around you. Like David led us into the rock climbing. So like, hey, his passion of rock climbing kind of went into our system and created like a little tiny passion. And now when we keep going, like our passion grows and grows and grows. Obviously there are some times where you're there, you're like, man, like this sucks today. Like I'm not doing well. But you're like, all right, most of the time, 90% of the time I come here, I love it. I absolutely adore it. 5% you're like, okay, this is pretty cool, and then the other 5% is like, fuck this today. I'm so done with this. But when you find that, and I also think another great point is with the money situation now, like, money is just so annoying. It is horrible.
It's a necessary evil. Like,
yeah, it's a necessary evil. And what I think, like, my boss definitely helped me a lot with this, John. He changed my whole perspective about money one day. Just talking to me about it, because I'm a very cheap person. I grew up being very cheap because all I thought was like, oh, the more money you make, the better your life is.
mm-hmm.
And like, the more money you can make, the better that everything else is gonna be. If you have money, you're gonna have no more problems, which is obviously false.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you use your money wisely, to make your life better. So what I think is that when we're in this situation of, all right, we want to try something new. Now it forces us to make decisions to be like, okay, we kind of have the money, but we kind of don't. Now we have to figure out a way to make more money. And it pushes us in a sense to be like, all right, I love to do this stuff. I love going here. I love going there. And I love doing fun stuff. I love going out to eat. I love being with my friends and creating memories. So I have to figure out a way to prepare myself to make enough money. And it forces you in the future too, when you have a family, like, all right, like, my kid wants to start doing whatever sport. I have to find a way to make an extra $500 just to support him.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I would love a
that's
life.
where it comes into play. Like, that's where money is important.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's why it's necessary. Like, you want to be able to give to the people you love, and that's why we're all chasing that. We're all chasing the dollar. We are all chasing it. No matter who you are, we're all chasing that because it's security. That's what it is. It is. It's security, and people don't like to be insecure. People don't like to feel insecure, because we all are insecure in reality.
We're all chasing the dollar to do things that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
we'll sell our soul to make the money just so we could live the life that we want to live. But meanwhile, it was there beforehand. You could do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, you can learn everything for free online and stuff like that.
People have different starting points. It's easy for me to say, like, I was blessed with a wonderful life. My dad was a police officer. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. And I was just lucky. Like,
same with me. Yeah.
Blessed
that I was able to wake up every day and not have to worry if I was going to have dinner that night or the next night, or I might not even have dinner for the rest of the week.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So for us, it's easy for us to say these things, but when you have no money, you're coming from no money, like, that's what you need. That's going to give me my life. If I'm living at a public housing, you're stuck in that. You don't have either your parents around. You're kind of on your own. You really don't got nobody supporting you. Maybe you got your grandma supporting you, something like that. Who knows what's going on? But it's definitely harder in that situation when you don't have money to do things. But it's possible. We live in America. You could get financial aid and go to school and come home and study, do your thing. But it's hard when you have these influences around you.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's all about the people who influence you around you.
And that's your choice. We have a choice.
Yeah, we do. We definitely have a choice to take that influence in or just push it away. That's the main thing. Like, there are probably a lot of people out there that started from absolutely nothing, that pushed away great advice and took in bad advice and kind of fucked their life up. Well, was it their fault that they did that? No, there's no right or wrong. Whatever decision you make, that's the decision you make. And like, that's the decision you want to make in that time. So that's totally fine. But to learn from those mistakes and start switching it up, that's where it comes into. You have to read and react to whatever happens in your life. So coming from that broken family, that poor situation, and then, yes, money will definitely help you and fix your life in certain ways, but you have to find those hobbies. You have to find those things that you absolutely love.
Yeah, and you have to find your people. We are a social species, and you need your people. If you're a fucking stockbroker and you're making millions of dollars on the market, you got a huge house, mansions, you got houses in different countries. but you got no friends to share that with.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Yeah.
And then you start. We are a social species, so we're gonna search out people. We'll pay for people to hang out with us. Like, but is it real? Is it deep? Is it gonna give you the chills? Is it no? This is not. This is not where it comes from. Like,
Yeah.
is it real? Like, cause I'm well, I think like one of the highest power, like one of like the highest vibrations, is gratitude, which I learned from Ben's girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah.
Shannon. Yeah, her workshop on gratitude, and like one of the other ones is love, man. Love
Love.
is really above everything else. For me, is love. Like that's the number one. When I act, I want to act. Am I acting in a loving way right now? And how am I treating these people? Am I treating them right? Am I doing the right thing? Like, is it, because it's very important, I think.
Love is extremely important. If you don't have love for people around you, then those people are not going to react to you gracefully and gratefully as well. But the thing about when you were talking about, oh wait, what were you saying before?
People in public housing.
Oh no, the whole human interaction shit. Like I think human interaction is so important, and like you were saying before, if you have all the money in the world but you don't have anybody to share that
Exactly,
with,
yeah.
that's the love. The love is coming out of, hey, I make mad money all the time. Like, I want you guys coming with me and like, hey, we're gonna go to my mansion in, I don't know, Greece and have a whole vacation there. Like, don't worry about work. Like, I got you. I'll pay for
Yeah.
everything because I make so much money. Like, that's my goal in life. My goal is to make a lot of money so that I can have so many experiences with my loved ones. I don't care about the money itself. I care about the experiences, the people that I'm actually with. That's the most important part. Money's just there so that we can have a convenient life. Like, if we didn't have money, we wouldn't be able to just go to the store and be like, okay, well, what do I need today? I need some carrots for the stew. I need some beef for the stew. Let's go get all those ingredients. They wouldn't have stew and fucking 600 years ago. You're good.
And this ties back to how we're disconnected from nature. Like, we cannot make a fire. We cannot do these things and survive outside. So we are reliant on money. We're reliant on these machines now and technology. We are far gone. There's no turning back now.
No turning back.
but that's why it's necessary. Unless people can, and many do, with their money buy land and then live off the land and do things. But how are you going to do that if you don't have money? Like, it's just the way.
It's just the way of life.
Yeah, the way our species does business. Like,
there's no more trading back and forth.
That's the value. It's a value system.
Yeah.
What are you worth?
Yeah, what's your net worth at this point? Like, oh, I'm worth $1 million. I'm worth $500,000. Like, okay, that's great, but what are you worth outside of money?
Yes, exactly. And people like to judge people based on their money. Like, it's not the whole picture. You're missing out on the whole picture.
Missing out on a lot.
On a lot, which is it's almost 90%. Like 10% is the money. It depends on how you're making your money. I think Gary Vee said it.
That's true.
It's not how much money. I forget the quote, but it's how you make your money that's important.
Yeah.
It's like what you're doing. Like you're doing something that you love and you're excited about every day. It's amazing.
Even when I'm not excited about it, I get there and I start and I'm like, all right, like, this is cool. I could be doing so many other things to make money right now, and this one is probably one of my top ways of making money at this point in my life. So I'm going to keep sticking with it until I don't like it, until I want to move on. But maybe I don't ever do that, because maybe I keep getting better and better at what I do right now, and then I start to even love it more and more and more. And
I don't want to cut you off, but I have an idea.
Please go ahead.
About the question or the
general prompt. Yeah.
The prompt. Could we repeat the question again? What?
Of course, yeah. Let me get it. What would you do with your time if money was not an object?
Okay. my answer to this question, like complete answer,
Mm-hmm.
is that I would be doing exactly the same thing as I'm doing right now.
Wow.
In many ways, because what's driving me is not money, it's love. It's what do I love to do? What who do I love to spend my time with? Who is making me grow and I become a better person, a better man?
Yes.
Who like these are important things, and money is secondary. It comes with doing the right thing. If you're doing the right thing, these things will come. And my plan for the future is to go to school, focus the next 4 years of my life on becoming like the person that I need to be to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And also figure out what the hell it is. You have to
also don't limit yourself to just the 4 years.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Obviously, yes, in college it'll help you get your goal with college is to get onto a path, a direction of where you want to go, but never lose sight of where you want to go. Never lose sight of why you started. Like, okay, I want to figure out what I want to do with life. Maybe after 4 years you don't figure it out.
Yeah.
But you still have to have that in your mind. Like, all right, after the 4 years, I'm going to accept that I still don't know what I want to do. But maybe within the next 2 years, I'll get it. And you just keep going with that.
And all along, like I said before, you have to be doing what you want to do in the present moment. If you're not doing what you want to do, like you have to follow that thing in your stomach that drives you. And some people lost that thing in their gut. They lost their instinct. They lost what do I really want to do in a situation, because they're staring at their phone, watching what other people are doing, and then trying to, and everything they do is like when they're posting it online, like what do you do? Do you do anything without posting it online? Like
that's such a true statement that you just said, because when you see people on their phones all the time, they'll tweet out
like, was
board.
it even worth it if you didn't post it online? I'm sorry, I forgot.
No. No, please. Like I've talked a lot this podcast. You could keep talking.
Did you even do it? Like, did you even do the thing that you did if you didn't show other people your work? Like, it's like, you know, people aren't doing things for the enjoyment of doing them. They're doing it for other people, and that's what I want to get away from. I don't want to do anything for other people. Like, I want to be of service to other people, of course, but and to be able to help them. But if you can't be of service to other people, if you're not of service to yourself, if you're not doing the things you want to do, you're not going to be able to help anyone else. If you're not because when you're doing what you want to do, you love yourself. You start loving yourself. Like, thank you for doing all the things that I know you want to do. Like, when you're following the passion, and then you're leading by example then, and you're showing other people how it's done, instead of like focusing on what other people are doing. You're just focusing on yourself.
Yeah,
more so.
It's a very interesting thing that you're talking about right now, because when you have all the social media, people are doing it because they're like, all right, like I gotta get likes right now, I gotta show people what I'm doing. That's why, like, I never got into the stories on Snapchat. I never got to stories. Like, with my Instagram, I have to post shit because I'm for fucking business reasons. But other than that, like, I don't post things on my Instagram to show off. Like, I'm probably going to start posting stuff on there for, like, the Muay Thai and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything that we're doing that I feel like I should video and put it online. It's also business, but it's also like, hey, I want to have this so that when I get older and I see where I started, it's going to be like, oh, wow, I'm so grateful that I did this, that I created a hobby that I love. And just to see the improvement. I think improvement is such a great thing in life that people don't focus on, because your thing, you want to figure out what you want to do right now. You're trying to figure out the path, the decision
to
making.
actually make money.
Yeah. And
what am I going to do? Because I would like to do something I enjoy doing.
Yeah,
like,
and the way to do that is to improve what you enjoy and see if you can make that into a source of income.
Follow the joy.
Yeah, or improve in the sense of your work ethic, your work itself for school, and be like, hey, I actually want to become a teacher now. Okay, like, I'm going to actually have to put my shit into gear and go.
And that's what I'm
it.
excited to do, too. Because I'm doing that in all the outside aspects of life, like extracurricular activities, like the rock climbing, the Muay Thai classes now. Yeah. And just overall, we work out all the time. Like,
work out a lot of the time. So it's a great thing to keep into the system.
Like I work the body, now I'm working the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And in all aspects, I just want to continue.
And you want
to learn in many things and challenge yourself every day. If you didn't challenge yourself in a day,
you're not going to change yourself.
Yeah,
if you don't challenge yourself, then you're not going to find any change. And if you don't find change, then you're going to be the same person you are at 16 as you are at 46. You want to be that person where I want to be that person where I influence people and people look at me like, oh wow, like I want to be able to attain all this knowledge to share with other people.
Me too.
That's what I want to do. I want to share my knowledge. Yeah. That's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I want to share my thoughts, my knowledge about life, my knowledge about...
And gain new thoughts.
New thoughts. And put out, receive, and keep doing that. And I want
the more you give, the more you get.
Yeah, I really want people to start opening up their eyes and being like, okay, there's more to life than what we really think it is. Like I've become a lot more spiritually inclined this past probably like 6 months, just with meditation and just understanding that the body, we can control it. Like it could do a great amount of things, and it's a very powerful tool. If you can align your interest and your energy, and it could come together. Like the law of attraction is a beautiful thing, because you can put out to the universe like, hey, I'm really interested in whatever. Say it's X. I'm really interested in X, but I don't know how to get to that point. What you have to do is stay patient and stay on that path and keep bringing it up. Keep doing that. And the powerful mind, the universe will all come together at some point, and you'll get there. But the thing about it is that people aren't patient. They don't know what they want, and they think it's all bullshit. It's not bullshit. For example, everybody who's above the age of 17 has been through the process mainly of trying to get a new car. If you're a driver, you're trying to get a new car, and when you look on the road for a car or for a specific car, how many times do you see that car? You see it non-stop. Like, oh man, I'm interested in a Ford Explorer. You will not stop seeing Ford Explorers. You're going to be like, wow, there's so many out there. And that's kind of like the law of attraction. That's how I explain it to people when they think it's bullshit. Because, you're attracting all those Ford Explorers. You're attracting your vision, your attention onto a specific thing. And if you can do that, then you can be a very powerful human being and attract other people to come. Like, I would love to attract other people to start listening to this podcast, to start bringing in their knowledge and stuff like that.
Yeah, to have these conversations, because everybody should be having these conversations that they're taking literally an hour or 2 hours of just having a conversation about something. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be constructed like this. It could just be with your friends. Yeah. But instead of staring at the TV while you're with your friends or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it may be, you just
take out a journal.
Talk.
What do you think about this? I find it very strange that we never learned how to have a conversation.
Yeah, true. I mean, in high school, we moved towards it. I remember in Mr. Corvino's English class, we started debating a little bit, but still.
It's not.
We were in there just for going through the motions. That's what school was.
It was the do now. You're forced to do the do now. You share whatever that is. I'm talking about you sit there, I sit here, and force us to have a conversation. Ask me about life. Figure out how to have a person more attracted to you through a conversation and have more of a relationship, more of a connection, the chemistry and everything like that. Because
they don't teach us that, yeah.
They don't teach us that. And that's honestly...
You're supposed to just figure it out.
It's the most powerful tool.
They teach you the tools to use, though, like the English language, so you can have a conversation.
But they don't teach you how to have a conversation and be like, oh shit, like I can help this person in any situation at this point because I feel comfortable around them. I can do whatever with them because I have the chemistry and everything like that. I can actually persuade somebody to get me that job because I can talk to them and be like, hey, this is how I really feel, and be really genuine. Not a lot of people are genuine with their thoughts and their actions and their actual conversation. They kind of just go through the motion and they're like, hey, how are you? Good. All right, cool. How's life? Good. Anything new? No, same old shit, can't complain. What? I don't give a fuck about that. Like, tell me about,
that's why it's nice to find your people, like, because most people, it's a lot of people, we're all different. I don't know, I don't know how to put it, but I like, you just know your people when you talk to them and you figure them out. Like, that's how you get to know someone, is through conversation. And one of the most important things in conversation, it's the most important thing, is listening. It's the part where you're quiet and they're talking and you're listening to what they're saying. That's what we're, like, I don't know if we're not taught it. We kind of are taught it to listen in school.
But we're taught to just
it could always
listen.
be better. Things should always be better.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great point. Listening it really is half the conversation. Like, people mainly,
you got two ears and one mouth, right?
Yeah, you got 2 ears and one mouth. You got more of a chance to hear something than actually speak about it. But a lot of people don't listen. They're like, oh, okay, they're about to end their talking, I'm going to talk about myself.
Yeah, they're thinking about what they're about to say.
Exactly, yeah, and I do that sometimes
and ignoring what you just said that could have been useful for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but they don't think that you could. One of the things in Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, one of his chapters was like, other people might have something useful to say, like listen to someone when they have a conversation. It's not a perfect quote from what he said, but the other,
you could learn.
Yeah,
you could really
the other
learn.
person you're talking to, like, might have something to teach you. Everybody does.
And how many times have you heard something? You have so much anxiety that day. There's some crazy shit's going on in your life, and somebody says one thing, literally a sentence, and all of your anxiety, all of your emotions of sadness and anger just go away.
And
you're
turn
like,
into laughter.
You're like, what? That's all I had to hear today, and I'm good. Like, mainly with, for me, for an example, with going to the future and stuff like that, like what's gonna happen and everything like that. When I talk to older people and they're like, oh yeah, I was in this situation, but I was in a worse situation than you when I was your age. I didn't even start my life until I'm like 27. And you're like, oh, and you're that successful? Like, you're doing that well with life?
Yeah.
Like,
makes
all
you
right,
feel better.
Like, I'm gonna calm down right now. I'm only 20 years old.
And have patience, like you said. It's so important.
Patience is everything.
Because then you start doing things that you don't want to do. What most people are doing. I've done it in the past. You start doing things that you don't want to do, and why? For other people, because you want to impress other people, whatever it may be. Maybe it's for yourself, maybe, but most of the time it's like for other people. You want that image.
Yeah.
And what does an image mean? You want to keep up that image.
That
it's
ego.
called it's the root word for imagination. It's not real. The ego isn't real. It's not. It's just not real. It's a made up. It's a concept. Like, the difference between you and me is very, very. It's not really that much different. We are the same thing. We really are. You came out of your mom. I came out of my mom. Like, came into this world, we came out of this world. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
Like Alan Watts says, we don't come. I think I'm right when I say this. We don't come into this world. We come out of it. Like an apple grows out of a tree. We come out of the ground like that. Like an acorn comes out of a tree or something like that. We flourish and grow. This is something that's grown. Nature is grown. Like, he talks about how when American child asks their mom, how was I made? Who made me? He goes, like, Asian cultures, if Chinese children wouldn't ask that question, because they look at nature as something that grows. So they don't think of it as
like,
a
where did
machine.
I come from?
Like, like they would ask different questions, like, how was I grown or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
How did I grow up?
yeah,
Like,
how did I?
yeah.
It's something that's grown.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to think of. It's really just how you look at things. It's how you think of it, and yeah. I mean, this was a mad fun podcast. We got to wrap this up.
Okay,
How
cool.
long? How long you think we've been talking for?
A good hour. I don't know.
Yeah, hour and 7 minutes at this
Nice.
point. But I might cut out a little bit.
Yeah,
of
this was
the beginning. I don't know because
Yeah.
it's a little long. So we'll see.
It's
But
definitely fun now.
we have been talking for quite a while.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And whoever is listening still, you're the real MVP. Thank you for listening at this point.
All
We
right,
definitely
thank you,
had
Nicky.
a really.
This was fun.
We got to do a wrap up. Fact. Wrap up.
Awesome. Yeah.
Humans are the only animals with chins.
Really. Like what?
Yeah.
We are the only animals with chins.
With chins.
Hmm.
Really weird,
Like
right?
a chin bone.
I guess
Have a
so.
distinct- That's cool.
That was the first thing that came up. Whatever.
Nice.
That doesn't really matter. It's just a fun little thing. If you didn't know, we're the only ones who have chins. But anyway, Matthew, it's been real. We'll have you on the podcast again. This was fun as fuck.
Okay. Thank you very much.